Be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. We would absolutely love a 5-star review. Feel free to leave us comments, messages, and if you're listening to us and watching us on Spotify, sometimes we have fun little questions and polls at the bottom that if you scroll down you can find, and we would absolutely love you to interact with us that way as well. Thank you so much.
Hello and welcome to Come With Us, a podcast to meet all your fantasy needs. I'm Sussy Nunez.
And I'm Reshea Kelly. And each week we dive into the tempting world of books, seductive romance.
And this week, I'm bringing the sprinkle of spice.
Hello, sinners. Welcome to episode 11. What? 11 or what? Come With Us, your new favorite podcast, and you know it. I'm Sussy Nunez, and this week I'm recently pierced here.
Ooh.
And very excited. I'm not going to show you, but I'm very excited. Yes.
Love it. And I'm Reshea Kelly, kink enthusiast, book goblin, and bilingual, but not in a way that's beneficial for me in the current company provided.
But she's getting there. And this is Natalia Trujillo.
Yes. Nati Nats, if you're Latina.
Yes.
I am a kink novice, but doesn't mean that I am not in my head having dirty sex all the time. You know, I've got a joyful spirit and hopefully some nice takes on today's chapter.
I know.
So
I'm so excited for
excited.
today's episode, sinners, because Nati is new to, not new, I don't think you're new to the smut, like, world or universe, but she's, like, into it right now. Like, into it and with it and under it and over it and everything. Yeah.
No, 100%. I basically was thinking back to when did I first start reading kink, and does anybody know the book Forever?
No.
They basically have one sex scene. They name the penis. It's very teen book, and I think that was my beginning. I love that.
What did they name the penis?
Ralph. The penis was named Ralph.
Yeah.
Is Ralph feeling hungry today?
No,
Confused.
it's giving Garfield. No. No.
It's really not giving a girthy penis.
No. It's giving like languid and, you know, like, no. It's an R. It's an R for me.
Ralph
Who's
Ralph
that?
has a toupee.
Judy
for sure.
Blume?
Judy Blume. And
No.
I recommend that book.
What I'm saying is that's how I started, because it kind of a teen book that has
Okay.
a bit of spice. So it was everyone's like first look into
that's so
sexy
cute.
literature.
I love
A
that.
Judy Blume book? I thought those were all like super wholesome.
Now
You
know
see? Now, exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. You live and you learn, I guess. That's
Love
crazy.
it. So, Nati,
Mm.
if your life was a book, right? And you have to title this moment in your life, what would you name it?
It would be reaping all the benefits of putting my boundaries up.
Ooh.
It's giving poetry, and I love it. That's why I was like,
Snaps.
Well, basically, I was allowing somebody's comments and criticism of me in a professional setting to really kind of infiltrate my own opinion of who I am. And when I started saying no thank you to that commentary, or just understanding that it's coming from their place of hurt and has no reflection on me, and then I also told them I would quit, then it all made me feel really good. Now I'm blessed.
it's just like, I'm not extending this anymore. I'm leaving.
Done.
I love
To
that.
be loved and respected.
I love that.
I
I
love-
love that. Thank you so much for that. Sinners, if you needed to listen to this to take the freaking step, do it.
Love that.
Any tips or like advice on quitting?
Well, I have to say that I'm very blessed because my mom is sort of my role model in a professional sense. And, you know, I know that not everybody has that. So I'm very grateful. I go to her and I'm like, how do I, handle this conversation? We wrote a script because in the moment it can be hard to say all the things you're feeling. So I came to the meeting prepared, cried the entire way through. But
And after,
my script.
What a woman's superhero power, just to be able to
Yes.
speak and cry at the same time.
yes, Yes, and we're still waiting because I want Nati's mom to give us either like talleres or courses or something because she's the freaking best.
All right, Susie. So, how about you? If your week was a book or a chapter of a book, what would it be titled?
I'm blanking so hard, honestly, because I've been so busy this week, sinners. So freaking busy, but honestly, it's a good busy. So I will say, rock on. Even if you're super busy, find ways to have fun being busy. And maybe it's a playlist. Maybe it's talking to your friends while you do work. Maybe, you know what we did this week with my sister? We almost talked the whole week. And on FaceTime, we were always talking and working at the same time. And it was amazing. And it was so fun. And it felt like she was literally beside me. So I love it. I recommend. Yes, I will say the title of the week will be "Have Fun While Doing Maybe Something That You Don't Love. You Can Have Fun." I assure you, it's a long title, but I stick by it. I stick by it.
Your titles are always the longest.
I know.
I love
Reshea, what
it.
about you?
Um,
That's a perfect title, though.
It is.
there you go. What's it called when you're just like hanging on by a thread and being just pulled through like
Barely making it. Yes.
just it's crash course, I guess. Yeah, it's just kind of like I was out of Adderall for like a week.
Mm.
And then just everything. But I mean, I played well at softball.
Nati, what is your favorite book of all time?
Oh, favorite book of all time. Oh, this is gonna be cute. But the first book I remember that I couldn't put down was Charlotte's Web.
Okay, this is so cute. Because I did not expect that.
I love animals and
Oh,
Actually, I cried and everything with the book.
no, I really felt every emotion.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Any favorite book recently that you will put in that category?
Well, Sussy and Reshea, I mean, I'm listening to your podcast, so
Thank you. As you should.
You really have me spiraling into smut, like diving straight in. So I gotta tell you, I read The Dare. I'm currently reading Pucking Around. I am deep in Pucking Around. And honestly, ACOTAR this year, read right through all of them, and I don't know, The Dare is amazing, of course.
right.
Really been enjoying that. But okay, aside from Smut, I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was a
Okay.
cute book. I would highly recommend.
I have it on my TBR because of you. So yes. Okay, so favorite smutty book of all time or this year? However you feel more comfortable with.
I think it has to be The Dare.
Yes.
And I think it's because I never thought that I would want to crawl for a man. But here I
Right?
am, fantasizing. Oof.
Oh,
And also
feminist.
just wanting to be
It's
taken
leaving their
by
bodies.
multiple men.
she's leaving their body right now. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Nati, why did you decide to read ACOTAR?
I gotta tell you, it's my friend Susie.
Oh
What?
my
Who is she? I want to
Holy
meet her so
shit.
bad. I want to meet her so bad.
She sounds amazing. Can we get her on the podcast?
But I mean, I have told you about books before. Why this one though?
I think it was, the fact that you were also making a podcast. I think
Friends support friends.
that's
You see?
exactly right. Community
Okay.
is key. I said, my girl's doing something. Oh, you'll find me there. And you'll find me also understanding what she's saying. So I gotta read the book.
And she understood the assignment. I love that. Thank you. By the way, thank you. Thank you.
Aw.
Because it's true. I mean, people know that I have this podcast, and some of them just listen to the episodes because I'm a funny person. And she's amazing. But a lot of them have always have also picked up the books. So I'm really, 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 really happy and grateful. So thank you. And thank you, sinners. And thank you to my friends that are listening to this. And even if you haven't read it, or even if you just listen to the episode and put them on silent, you're the best. Thank you. I love you so much. You, me, love you. You read ACOTAR, like the first book, but why the other ones though?
So the truth is, I was really excited for smut. And I read the first book. And I'm like, where's the smut?
What smut?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You get only like 2 thingies right there, and maybe a kiss and something, and that's it.
And
It
I
was
have a
specifically one thingy.
What? She
actually.
has a confession. She has a confession.
So I
Okay.
think I hadn't understood what book had what theme, and I heard you say reverse harem. So I was like, oh my God, keep reading. The reverse harem is coming.
We wish. The way in which we wish.
Oh, maybe we talked about
Pucking
Asriel.
around. We were talking about pucking
Oh.
around because I was reading Pucking Around when I came out to visit and met you. And so there was a bit of a crossed wires situation, I'll bet.
Got it. I thought you were confused because of Nesta and her like fantasy with Asriel and Cassian.
Oof.
Ugh.
Oof.
Ugh.
So basically, you got into it because you thought it was gonna be a lot of men and one woman, and she was gonna be very pleased. And then you realized that no. But then you got to Cassian and you're happy.
Oh no!
We
And
bait
then
and
also,
switched you.
yes, but ultimately, it was actually a great book. The series itself. I really got into the universe. I kept pushing. I was like, I want to know what's happening to the characters. I got my bestie reading the book, so then we were commenting with each other on the characters.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm so happy.
I'm saying Sarah J. Maas just is probably so thankful that we're out here spreading the news about her small independent book that nobody knows about. So Nati, so since you are a bona fide fan of the ACOTAR series, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, marry, kill Rhys, Asriel, Cassian.
Okay.
You can do it.
I'm fucking Rhys because he's just got the power of the night, and I
Honestly,
need to be
the
like,
mind fuck.
boom, you know,
mind fuck.
yes, and the dirty talk in my brain. Oh, I need that.
And look at you and looking at
You
yourself
could
like
watch
oh,
yourself.
Yeah,
That'll do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, girls, I'm sweating.
So you're fucking okay.
I'm marrying Cassian because I need that down there all the time with him, his talk.
Then you are killing
I'm
sad
killing
boy.
Asriel.
Sad boy Asriel.
I can't always be trying to
Yeah.
get you out of your shell. That's not a game I want to play all
Yeah.
my
I
life.
understand that. I understand that.
This is a long distance high five for you, Nati, because same.
Now, because I need to know, she read Pucking Around. She's on Pucking Ever After. I need to know. Fuck, marry, kill. I think I know who you're gonna kill, but either way, I have to ask because you know those are my boys. They're my boyfriends, my husbands. They're mine. I'm
Mhm.
Rachel. I don't care what you said. I am Rachel. Yeah, I'm Rachel. Fuck, marry, kill. Ilmari, Caleb, Jake.
Oh man, I feel bad saying this because it's like I really want to try pure stick. I'm going to kill Caleb.
She's gonna kill it.
Aw,
I
know.
again.
I know.
I know how I
this
feel
poor
about it.
man.
I know. I'm marrying Jake because I, like him, need emotional reassurance on the regular. And I'm okay to be honest about
He will give it to you. You will give it to him. It's perfect. It's a perfect match.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
And then
Ilmari,
I mean,
oh, he needs to take me.
Ilmari is
Art. Oh, for all that
honestly,
I am.
honestly,
Mhm.
yes. So
That's fair.
this question I wanted to have it like to the end or for the end of the episode, but I want to ask you right now because you're like in your right mindset, and then we're gonna have a lot of ACOTAR in our mind. So I want to ask you now,
Agreed.
how was reading this genre for you? Like, how is it helping you in your life, or is it helping you at all?
It's helping enormous amounts. I think in my intro I said I'm a kink novice, and that means I haven't necessarily tried a lot of the things that I want to try. But reading this has me, one, really excited, and I mean that emotionally and physically. Okay.
Yes.
Like I need to be like,
Yeah.
oof, I need to be massively introduced to this world. And I was thinking today, I think it's also helping me kind of reframe my thoughts about sex. And one way, like a very tangible example, is I was reading one of the episodes of one of the books of Pucking Around, and the way that they love giving blowjobs, I'm like, I'm so excited to be face fucked. And I don't know that I always have been, but now I'm like,
You
take
know me. We had this talk before. I never been into yes, put it on me, on my mouth. No. And now I'm like, I'm so excited for it. Like
You know?
it's something that you look forward to because you want to try it like in the books. It's another yes, try it.
Wait, one more crazy thing I really want to try because of reading smut. I just need to be with a bisexual man, and I need to have him be fucked as he's fucking me. Like, these things, like...
You need to read Salacious Players Club. Give me more. Give me more. You need to read that so hard. Yes, please. Read it. Read it, read it, read it, because that fantasy is right there in that book. Yeah.
It's changing.
Seniors, this is what smut does to you, because honestly, sex is a natural thing and it's something that we all should and are going to at some point going to experience. So do it. So we're supposed to talk about a bonus chapter that came with Mist and Fury, right? It was Mist and Fury.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, because I said it before, I didn't have time for anything, and I was going to do it today, but I didn't. But I'm going to let you two discuss this because she read it.
Oh, so proud of you, Nati.
Yeah.
Sussy, you and I will talk later.
I know. So the name of this extra bonus chapter is Wings and Embers, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's
Tell me
from
more.
Cassian's point of view.
Oh, we love that.
I love it. Nati, tell me, you read it recently, right? Like super
Yes,
duper
2 hours
recently.
ago.
Yes, 2 hours
Beautiful.
ago.
All right, tell me what, like, just first thoughts, like the first thoughts you had.
First thought was, wow, Nesta has restraint.
Real, man. How? That's like a level.
Was here, like on her neck, like licking. Oh, no.
I have been known to be a stubborn woman. I don't think that my will would be that strong with anyone that looks like Cassian. Like, what the fuck?
And you know he smells fantastic.
That's
Oh,
okay.
and when it's like
I mean,
mixed with perfume.
Oh.
Yes, 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 yes.
I mean, I wouldn't say like I hate the smell. It's just when it starts getting like that sour smell, it's not great.
Oh,
So
no. Don't do
that's
that.
when it's bad. I'm just saying.
I just think it's her. I think it's her, the way that because we know how she is later and the way that she melts into him, understanding that at that moment she's holding back everything. But that's so characteristic of Nesta. She's always holding back every emotion that she's having because she wants to, hide behind a hard shell. And she's even hiding behind her horniness. So,
And
what
wait,
was your
think about
favorite
it.
part?
At the time, she was still human and hated Faye. And Sarah J. Maas wrote this 1, 2, 3 books before Silver Flames.
But you told me that the
I'm just saying.
sexual tension was
It
incredible.
was fucking insane. So, okay, it starts, ready, Susie, since you didn't read it. So
I'm
it
going
starts
to,
like
but tell me
they're
everything.
they're like being mean to each other, and it's just like pure burning rage, just anger, right? And
So
Cassian realizes
it's kind of giving like Manson and Jesse from the Dare at the beginning.
yeah, okay, yes, kind of like where it's just straight up hatred, right? And Cassian makes some like snarly comment about like the men who have had Nesta before, and for a flash Nesta has this look of like horror on her face as she remembers some dude that she was gonna like try to court or whatever. What was it, yeah. And he tried to assault her and she got away, but it's still like a super traumatic experience for her. And for a flash of a second, he saw it on her face and he switched from like poking at her. He did the "who did this to you" like trope.
Oh, who did this to you? We love that. Yes.
The way he just instinctively went straight to, I want to murder this person. Tell me their name right now. And he wanted to straight up kill her. And then after that, it was like she was trying to build this wall back up that had fallen when he saw that face. And it was him just like, no, not yet. Just nope, no. You don't get to shut me out just yet. And he's just like getting closer to her. The hottest part for me was when she was like her back, she's all the way backed up against the hearth of the fire, right? And there's nowhere else for her to go. And he's just like, and closer. And then Nesta's like, Okay, let me read this one part. It says, and in those blue-gray eyes, he could see the thoughts swirling in her as if they were smoke under glass, the cunning mind at work behind that face, the one he hadn't been able to get out of his head these weeks. So he just moved. And then Nesta had tipped up her chin, allowing him access to her throat. Every instinct in his body came roaring to the surface so violently he had to choke them with a brutal grip, or else he'd find himself on his knees begging her for a touch, for anything.
Stop! Nesta is the OG dominatrix.
Right?
Yes.
And then the next line is, but he leaned in and grazed the tip of his nose along the side of her neck. What?
See the ending.
And then she made like a sound. She made a sound. That part. Where they're barely touching. Oh.
Honestly, I know it has nothing to do with this, but I always have to bring Pride and Prejudice to this podcast because I love Mr. Darcy. I love it. When Mr. Darcy does like the hand thing, you know, when my god, yes.
Yeah.
Even though this is sexual and that was more like a romantic thing, those little details in a book always gets us.
Yeah, I think that's what I liked so much about this, is that there was barely any physical contact between the two of them. Like their bodies only touched.
That tension makes everything like 1,000% better, because you're not getting there. It's like edging. It's like, you know, when you're like there and they're edging you, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Sarah J. Maas is a pro edger. And then guess what? The one time that there is a physical touch, Nesta knees him in the balls.
Oh yeah.
The big Nesta.
Amazing move.
But I think if you just Google the chapter, you can find it, right?
Yeah, Bloomsbury, the publishing company, has all the bonus chapters available on their website.
Go and read it. And if you haven't, because next week we're gonna have the last part of this series, is gonna be I know A Court of Silver Flames, part 3, last part of the whole ACOTAR. I'm so excited. And we're gonna discuss Asriel's bonus chapter. So if you haven't, go and find that too, so you can read it, so you know everything for this episode. So sinners, it's time for us to do part 2 of this freaking gem, A Court of Silver Flames. As you can see, I really love this book very much. Yes. And last part we did chapter 26, but we want to talk about it a little bit more, because honestly, this was the chapter that changed blowjobs for me. Honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, after Nesta told us all of that and almost having a threesome with Asriel, I'm sorry, but yes.
So I believe where we last left off, Nesta was asking him if he liked his blowjobs / hand jobs, because clearly it's a 1, 2, 3-parter job, and she was asking him if he likes it gentle, medium, or hard, like fucking sexy Goldilocks. And that's too soft. That's too hard. That's just right. Okay. And this, she purred, head lowering. Do you like it like this? Nesta licked across his broad head, tongue sliding into the small slit across its tip. She licked up the small bead of moisture already gathered there. Everything in her body turned molten. A surge of wetness slicked between her thighs as the taste of him filled her mouth, salt and something more, something vital. Oh gods, Cassian panted. At the words, the groan they were born on were so delicious that Nesta sucked his tip into her mouth and grazed her tongue along its underside. He leaned his head back against the chair, hissing. Nesta rose to her feet, eyes flicking to his cock. The heat in her gaze threatened to burn him, and the scent of her arousal wrapped itself around him and dug its claws in deep. Take off your pants, he growled. Nesta's smile only grew, pure feline amusement. He'd fuck her on this table right now. He didn't care about anything else, about the common space they were in, or Eris, or Brialyn, or Koskai, or the dread trove. He needed to be inside her, to feel that hot tightness around him and claim her as she claimed him. Nesta's
Yes.
fingers, right? Nesta's fingers slid to the buttons and laces of her pants, and he shook as he watched them free the top button. Steps scuffed down the hall, a warning from someone who knew how to remain silent. Cassian stiffened. Cassian, what a gentleman, right? Cassian,
Why didn't he just join?
I know, but it's so funny because Asriel is the master of shadows. I mean, he's like, I know what is happening there. I just need to make some noise so they know that I'm coming, and I don't have to see them fucking. I love that.
I mean, you've all had like roommate situations where you're like, I know that they're fucking, but like, I really need to go grab my purse. So you're just like extra loud and stand outside the door. What's that? Yeah, no, I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Fiddling with the lock and everything. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm about to go in my room in like 5 seconds.
Take advantage of those situations if I was in them, you know? Because I want to see. I should just walk in.
You need to read the Salacious Players Club now. Oh my god.
Good to know we have a voyeur in our midst. Okay, so now we're going to a less spicy bit because apparently this is a podcast that's also about books. And
about
that's fine.
feelings and trauma. And this Miss Man lady, it's so much trauma.
This poor girl.
Nesta, look, we recently posted something on TikTok, and that video is very controversial. It's so controversial that every time I go into TikTok on the Come With Us account, I get ready for the comments because, oh my god. First of all, it's a book. Second of all, she hated herself. It's okay if you don't like her. She didn't like herself. So it's okay. It's fine.
It's strange to me how the book's been out for so long and it's still, Nesta as a concept still lights such a fire of anger within people that they must go straight to their keyboards and they must tell everybody that they are wrong. It's like I know these people have also been all over the subreddit for ACOTAR. You know it. You know that they've been, anytime they see anything about Nesta, it's let me tell them how wrong they are for liking her.
Wait, so why are people mad? They're mad that you said what?
Oh, Nati is not like a super social media person, so we need to give her the tea. Reshea, give her the tea.
What did you say?
Okay, I can give you the tea. So we made like a bit of a joke about how people who hate Nesta must just not have had any childhood trauma.
It was a joke, but it wasn't, but it wasn't.
Like people, and I said people who hate her don't understand having trauma and not having a good way to like cope with it. Like no coping skills. Trauma with no coping skills equals you understand Nesta. And the number of people that decided to just trauma dump on us and tell us exactly all of their trauma and then say, and I don't like Nesta. And I'm like, I mean, good for you. You don't have to. It was a joke, not a dick. Don't take it so hard. So
I love every time you say that. I live for it. I love it.
I'm about to get it like just tattooed on me.
I love it.
It's not a dick. Don't take it so hard. But I mean, that's the thing is like she causes so much anger. I mean, nothing else in this book causes such a divisive response than Nesta. And if you don't like Nesta, that's totally fine. Like, good for you. I appreciated reading her because it was cathartic to read something that was fiction. It was like a fictional representation of how
all of us.
Yeah, like it's like in the movie Enough with what's her name, J-Lo, right? She's in an abusive relationship and she like gets revenge, right? And she straight up kills her abusive husband. It's fiction. No, we're not advocating for murder by liking this character, but it's cathartic for people who've been in those situations. Don't murder people. Don't do that. Never murder.
We're not encouraging it. Please don't do it. No. Thank you.
I do have to say, I understand that there's processing trauma, not being able to process it really well, which is a lot of Nesta. And, you know, by the force of it is so much that she just blocks herself. But there's also taking responsibility over the actions you cause others when you're experiencing one of those episodes or just like going through that chapter in your life. So, you know, she's not all great. Like there's moments where she needs to own to the fact that she really misbehaved,
Of
you know,
course,
and
yeah.
mistreated others.
Definitely.
sure.
And I don't think she does a lot of that until she goes through everything she goes through. But that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah.
You have to go through things, and that's the sad part in life, like in real life. That's why it feels so real in these books, because she has to go through so much, literally hike a mountain that nobody does hike to get to that point and to say, okay, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm on the bat. I doing the things that are not right, and that is a beautiful part, and that is the part that people don't get. Like, we're not justifying her. We're just saying she did this. She went through all of this. We loved all of that process. That's the process that we're talking about. Because after that, she said, "Okay, I understand. I get what everyone is saying. I get it now." That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, she she does the thing that we're waiting for Tamlin to do still, which is take responsibility for her actions. And that's how every redemption arc in history has ever gone. The reason they're called redemption arcs is because they're worthy of redemption. And what makes you worthy of redemption is making amends. It's all like, it's part of AA. It's a really big deal. Like, there's people in real life who have who have gone through serious trauma, or they've become addicted to drugs or alcohol. They've done things that they're not proud of, things that have hurt other people that they care about in very real ways. And in real life, unless you're an extremely high and mighty, unforgiving person who thinks so highly of themselves that nobody else could ever make a mistake, you're generally going to say, like, I understand that you were hurting, that you were sick, that you were going through a rough time, whatever. I appreciate the apology. You may or may not be able to forgive them, but at the same time, you don't just look at them and be like, fuck you. You know, like, like what? And I just get that feeling from these people. Like, how would you treat somebody who came to you and apologized for being that way if it happened in real life?
And honestly, let's just say that she's going through all of this, and the way that the people are closest to her are helping her is just like not in the most beautiful and kind way. And they have Christmas and they have parties, and they never actually include her. She's there because she has to be there, but they're not like, Nesta, we're glad that you're here. And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, do you guys get it? And you guys, I mean the inner circle.
Oh yeah.
I wanna talk about the point that you said, like, some people are alcoholics or they're drug addicts, and it's, to me, it's like, okay, you can forgive someone like that because they were under the influence of something, but you cannot forgive Nesta because she was going through so much trauma. I don't make it make sense.
Right. And she's self-medicating with alcohol and with, you know, sex and stuff like that. Nesta is acting like a child that doesn't know how to ask for what they want or need. And all they know is that they have a bad feeling and they're acting out. And that's how kids have temper tantrums. And all she needs is somebody to, like, she's begging for somebody to give a fuck. And they're all just like going through the motions, and it's kind of like that plausible deniability bullshit where people are like, what, we were nice to her, we invited her. Yeah, but like, did you try to talk to her? Did you ask her how she's doing? Like, yeah, she's difficult. Yes, she's a huge bitch. Did you ever sit there and go, hey, what you're saying and doing isn't okay. I still love you, but it's not okay. Or did you wait until she spent all your fucking, or did you wait till she spent all your fucking money and then you're like, well, now I'm mad.
Exactly. And it's like the only person that actually took that step was Cassian, and they got together. Spoiler alert, but yes.
He also, though, gives her this space to do it. A lot of this chapters that we're talking about right now, he asks a question and allows her to decide whether she wants to share or not.
And to take the time, because sometimes she will give an answer like a week later, you know, and it's beautiful, because if it was me, I would not give you that time, but I love that for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes when you're like that, you don't know. Yeah, like sometimes we'll ask you a question, right? But like somebody, like Jake will ask me a question. My husband will ask me a question, and I'll be like, I don't know what my problem is right now, okay? Like, I don't know. I'm just upset. And then I have to sit and think through it and like maybe talk to my friends, maybe journal about it a little bit, maybe meditate it on a little bit. And then after a few days, I'm like, oh, I understand why I was feeling that way. But nobody ever gives her that fucking time.
Nope.
They're
Okay.
just expecting her to be more perfect. Okay, so this next point is talking about, it's like the first time that Rhys ever shows his hand about what he really feels about Nesta. So one night, right? Okay, so Nesta has been appointed, or she has taken on the role of trying to find the dread trove, these 3 magical items, right? And
What are they again?
the crown, the harp, and the mask. The mask.
Very good, Natalia. Look at you.
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
They try to get Nesta to try scrying again to find these items, the same way that she had during ACOTAR when they were trying to find Elaine in the cauldron, right? And it doesn't work. She goes to bed that night and she is having freaking night terrors. And we're looking at it from Cassian's POV, and he is freaking out because she's screaming bloody murder. She's sitting up in her bed, she's freaking out, and there's nothing he can do to snap her out of it. So he like has that mind bond with Rhys as well, because Rhys is his High Lord. And he just calls for Rhys, and Rhys comes and envelops her in his night. Right? Which, first of all, so proud of him for not just being like, no, fuck her. Because sometimes I got the vibe that he might be like that.
Let's be honest. He probably thought about it, and he was like, "Yeah, but this is Cassian. I cannot. What like can I say after this? I cannot say because I have a witness. And Cassian was there, so yeah."
Feyre would
Also,
be
she
mad.
turned into like a silver flame. Like she's actually like on fire.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, she was on fire, but it was like a cold silver fire, a silver flame, if you will.
Oh wow.
And so he goes like into her mind to like get her to snap out of it, and then she just like stops and just falls back asleep like nothing happened. And then he goes to talk to Cassian afterwards, and he goes, I saw what happened to her in the cauldron. And he's sitting there talking about how like he finally understands how bad it was in there. And then he says that he's scared of her because of her power. And Cassian says, what is her power? And he says, death. It's pure death. And that's when we kind of get like an insight as to what her fucking power is, because still it's a bit ambivalent. And we know that Rhys is genuinely scared of how powerful she is.
And I get to my point again. He is jealous of her powers, and he's afraid, and he's an insecure man, and that's why he became a dad instead of a daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, very strong. This book, look, I love that man with my whole heart. At the beginning, at the middle, but at the end, no.
Shout out my bestie here, because she's like, Angie. She said, it's exciting that Sarah J. Maas gave him like a more rounded character, because everybody who talks about these books is criticizing Tamlin, and Rhys does the same exact thing, which is overprotecting her without giving her agency in that. And
like she's her own female. You don't have to do shit.
But Rhys is also not perfect, and he's still, and that's what gives him this like, I'm not just a hero in a knight in shining armor, He has clearly an issue.
And I love it because the next point, Reshea, what is the next point?
Rhys knows that Feyre's baby has little Illyrian baby bat wings, and that it's probably going to kill Feyre in childbirth. And then he says to the inner circle, but like, you're not going to tell, right? And he makes everybody swear to secrecy to not tell Feyre. So everybody knows that Feyre is gonna die in childbirth, except for Feyre? What?
You cannot withhold medical information from the patient.
Sorry, but what the fuck?
I will say this happens a lot in real life. And actually, I have a story of somebody I know who was in final exam season in our last year of undergrad, and their mother basically got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they didn't tell the daughter because they didn't want her to be stressed out during exams. When I tell you that this literally traumatized me, because how can you withhold that level of information? Like, you are nobody to decide what people can handle and when they can handle it. I think in this case with the medical information, you have to be honest.
And we're talking about a mother and a child.
Yeah.
Like,
I would much
She
rather,
has the
I would
right to
much
know.
rather, right? I would much rather be like, hey, school, fuck off. I'm gonna go spend some time with my mom.
Yeah.
I don't get that chance back.
Or maybe you're gonna do both.
Yes.
Maybe you're gonna do both, and you're
And
gonna
maybe
be
you can
super
handle it.
tired, but that's okay too because you're deciding, you're choosing that.
Yeah.
But honestly, I hate to this point about Rizan. I just hate the fact that he said, "Don't tell anyone." Bitch, who do you think you? I know you're my high lord, but what?
I mean, so his justification was, I don't want to tell her and not have an answer for how to fix it yet. So just give me some time to find the cure, to figure out how to fix it. I'm going to go talk to Helion, which means we've got the fucking day court up in this bitch
Involved,
understanding what's
yeah.
going on too. So like literally multiple people from multiple courts are aware of Feyre's situation and Feyre doesn't know. This is like one of my biggest fears. 100% is that
Yeah.
I'm the last one to know something and it's like everybody knows behind my back. Literally,
Totally.
I have panic attacks regularly about this.
Totally,
Like,
totally.
I can't.
It's like a girl's girl. Like there's this debate going on TikTok right now of if you see your girl's boyfriend on the street with other girl, like would you tell him or not? Are you a girl's girl or are you not? And I think that's a difficult subject because it has nothing to do with the books, right? But I think it's a difficult subject because you can be the friend that tells and then they never, break up and you are the bad one in the story. Or you can tell them and the other person understands and everything and they break up, or they don't, but you keep being in their lives, right? But yeah.
I went the same exact way. I literally knew somebody who was cheating on their girlfriend of like 8 years, and tell me how every single person knew.
No,
All of us
no,
wouldn't
no,
even
no,
be
no.
in the same room.
Oh, that's why I was saying
with
it, yeah.
him and the other girl.
No.
Yeah.
No. I've never been in that position, but I know I'm a girl's girl. I will fucking tell you everything. If you don't find my friend after this, that's on you. No, and I would love to know too.
That becomes actually the most painful part. Fuck your partner who clearly does not respect you, but what about all your friends?
Amen.
Not your whole circle being trash.
Yeah. I had a friend whose boyfriend hit on me. I messaged her. I said, "Hey, your boyfriend said this. He's trying to get me to pick him up from the airport while you're at work and this and like he wants to like whatever." And she blamed me and then stopped talking to me and said I was a bad person. And I was like, "You know what? You're kind of a shit person anyway, so whatever." But like I would 100% want you to tell me that. Why wouldn't you want me to tell you that?
This is one of the examples of Rizan being, I am a high lord, I'm not your friend. And I will, and I love this man. I really do, because we met him. We really got to know him in the books before, in the previous books. And I love that. And I will forever cherish that in my heart. But I just don't understand how you can be a high lord and how you can be a friend and he doesn't know how to differentiate those things. He's either one or. And I'm like, they're your friends. They're your family.
And they're your most trusted people in your court. On both ends of it, they're highly important people that you are supposed to trust. So why aren't you trusting them? It's not like I love them, but I can't trust them because they're from an enemy court or anything. It's not anything like that. They're your closest confidants at work and they are your family. Why don't you trust them?
Like, I will say there is a difficulty when you're in a position of power, when you're friends with somebody who in theory reports directly to you. Like, we all know this. It's difficult, and like that line needs to be, treaded carefully. I think in this case, this secret has nothing to do with protecting your land and protecting your realm and protecting your people, and there's nothing about this that is like going to help like everybody be safe. So in this case, he didn't have any right to like exercise authority. Nope. In other situations, he does have a right, in my opinion, because he's a general. And you don't have to share everything with the people.
Of course. And he knows that. But when it comes to the inner circle, specifically like the family side of it, and Feyre, he just becomes a different person. I'm like, why do you have to do this to ourselves? Because I don't care about you. I care about me and my feelings.
He's extremely like the way that he like copes with feeling scared and angry and sad and all those negative emotions is by trying to regain control of a situation. Yeah. And I think that's what he's doing. And I guess He was seeing my therapist. Hypothetically, my therapist might have hypothetically told him last week that his addiction was being in control of situations and that that wasn't necessarily healthy. And perhaps he should work on maybe not doing that so much.
You were
Hypothetically.
saying that, and I was like, okay, I see the mirror right there. I see it. Okay. So yes, all of that, and Nesta. What is it, Michelle? What is it that she does?
Oh, the next line or the next point.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they find where the mask is going to be, right? And so they go, and then Nesta pisses herself finding the mask at the Bog of Urid.
It is what it is. We're not gonna put it in other words. It is what it is. She did it,
But
she got it,
maybe
and that's all that
condensed it.
matters.
She was scared. She was
It was
scared.
horrible.
Okay,
No.
she thought Cassian and Azrael were both dead.
And honestly, reading that, I had so many emotions, and I was like afraid the whole time. I felt like I was, when you watch a movie, like a horror movie, and you feel like you are in the movie. I felt that way. It was so well written. Oh my God.
And the eyes staring back at her.
Oh my God.
Dude, and can you imagine, like, if they were to turn this into a film or a TV show or something, that moment of her, like, walking out of the bog with the mask on her face and the dead rising behind her. It's giving that scene from Lord of the Rings when Aragorn comes out of the mountain with the army of the dead, and you're just like...
Yes. We are Lord of the Ring nerdies here, and I love it. But yes. Oh my God. That image is in my brain, like tattooed in my brain. I love
and she's
it
just
so
holding
much.
the head of that Kelpie, just like apparently
like
decapitation is her thing.
Yes, but it's like, to me, that moment when you're watching a movie and you're waiting for that epic moment. That was the moment, because this book has other moments, but that is the moment for me.
That's not the moment for me, but it's up there.
What do you mean the moment?
Like, when the hero does something that you're like, wow, that's the moment.
Oh,
that's the moment for
stepped
me.
into her power.
Yeah, because after that, she's not the same, and I love it.
It's true. Well,
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you can tell that they're sisters, because one of the first things I told Susie, and I know that it's in episode 1, it's, why are these bitches not doing what they're told when their safety is concerned? Stay in the tree. Stay in the tree.
Well, and clearly, she had to pee.
You're so cool for that. You're gonna, oh my God, Reshea.
Hey, the people that hate Nesta are gonna love that clip.
Chapter 37.
Oh, I'm ready to get into smut again.
Yes.
Nesta is struggle bussing after and not bussing in a fun way, the struggle kind. And she's like, I smell like a bog and I'm traumatized. So I'm going to go and she's covered in her own piss. So she's going to go take a bath. And she hops in that bath and she's just trying to decompress and she is fully not okay. And then who should appear but Cassian, just trying to bring her some food. That's it. He sees her in the bathroom and he's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like as if she hasn't had his dick in and around her mouth already.
Really?
Digress. Like, come on, Cassian. Get it together. Yeah. So oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you were bathing. And then she just stands up in the tub all naked with the water dripping off of her and she's like, oh, these they're natural. She just realizes that being near him makes her less stressed and makes her like it calms all of her trauma triggers, right? Almost as if
Kobe, the guy from like TikTok that does like when things are like super Nesta. Like, really, babes?
It's almost as if something is trying to tell her that she and he should spend some time together, maybe just a little bit. And she says, or she thinks, if he wouldn't climb into the bath, then she'd have to go to him. And she walks over. They have this moment where they tell each other that they thought each other was dead and that they're glad that they're not dead. And then she does the damn thing where she goes, just sex, right? And he's like, yeah. And the thing that gets me is she goes, there can be nothing more than sex, Cassian. His jaw tightened and he seemed to struggle with some internal battle before he said darkly, "Then I'll take whatever you offer me." He leaned in, his body still not touching hers, and said against her ear, "And I'll take you however you wish me to." And then she says, "And if I wish to take you?"
Ooh.
And then he says, "Then I'll beg you to ride me into oblivion."
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything.
They're just talking.
They're not
They're
even
just
touching
talking,
him.
and that gets you going so hard.
Sarah J. Maas.
This woman knows how to sext. I will tell you that.
Oh my god, I love sexting. I do want to do a PSA for the girlies though. If you like a man and he's like, ooh, just sex though, dump him.
It's okay for Cassian. It's not okay for regular mortal men. We don't want that.
Cassian isn't the one that said, "Oh, this is just sex." It's Nesta saying, "Oh, this is just sex." Listen, if you have feelings,
no matter the gender,
but honestly, it's okay if we do it.
It is actually okay if we do it.
Yeah.
we will not be taking notes on that. And if you're a man that wants to come in and tell us how we're sexist and terrible, then you will just delete your comment and pretend you don't exist.
Thank you very much. Feminism
Continuing.
is leaving our bodies right now again. Feminism, we don't know her.
No, listen, it can be a they-them situation, but if there's a little bit of a power inequality and you like that person and they say this,
they're taking advantage.
I agree. That is happening. And
dude, listen, I don't talk like this to anybody in real life. I could never. But this is exactly how I sext and how most of us do. And they're doing an amazing job. I mean, if I had the balls to say the shit that I could send in a dirty text message while I'm folding my laundry, it'd be over for all you bitches. Like, yes. Can you imagine being able to say this shit in real life? No, Sussy's like, I do all the time.
Yeah, that's very me. That's very me. That's my thing. I love it.
But do you like, I mean, I'm not saying, but do you, as in like, there's no possible way, but just like, imagine this as a conversation without all the stuff in between. Ready? He says, "We don't have time in one night for all the things I want to do to you, with you, every place I want to touch and fill you." He's saying this to her face. And then she says, "Then do your best." Then he says, "Do you want to suck me again? Do you want me down your throat again?" And Nesta is like, huh. And I say that because it says Nesta let out a confirming whimper. She hasn't said anything. And then he goes, "Do you still taste me days later?" She couldn't answer.
No.
And this, oh, you know what? I lied. They're talking. He is playing with their nipples a bit. And then he clamps down on her nipple and just goes, "Did you?" And makes her answer, "Yes, I tasted you for days. I've thought about your cock in my mouth every night since while I had my hand between my legs."
I'm just going to say something because I don't know how to react to everything right now. I actually don't know if I'm in my body. I'm just.
Are you dissociating?
Maybe I'm with Cassian right now.
Same.
I'm just going to say, can we talk about the word cock? Because oh my god,
Cock.
It's the best euphemism for penis.
Thank you very much. Penis, dick, shaft, length, no, cock.
You know why?
I know,
It's the mouth. It's the mouth shape.
Oh my god, I love this part.
Which one? Tell me everything.
Where she's like,
Ooh.
he was a portrait of male arrogance, a warrior poised to conquer, and she nearly climaxed at the sight of it. Okay? To climax by literally being in the presence. Oh.
Honestly? Immediately, yes. Immediately, yes.
And also this idea of him treating her like a predator playing with dinner.
He gave her another slow lick from base to top, and as he reached that bundle of nerves, he slid 2 fingers in her. Not 2, not 1, because he seemed to know she was already waiting for him, that she wanted him unbound and rough and wild. She bowed off the bed, and he thrust his fingers in again, his breathing uneven as he said, "How do you want it?" Yes.
He's constantly asking, and
Amazing.
A+, A 1,000, A yes.
10 out of 10.
Mhm.
Because, oh my God, what a wonderful thing to be in such a present. Like, you're so in the moment that you're like, I want her pleasure. I want to be in, but I want her to enjoy this. And asking is a perfect way to make sure that your partner is having a fun time. Either if you're a man or a female or whatever you are, ask. How do you like it? Is this good? Tell me more. I want to hear you. You don't have to say, make sounds. You can say, I want to hear you. And that,
Yeah.
yes.
Right?
Also,
Right?
small PSA number 2, but when you're eating the vagina, definitely incorporate fingers, my friends.
Oh my God.
Make it a full round experience.
Thank you.
Please.
Like, it's not that difficult, babes. If you're already like this, you can do this, you know?
Again in the
This
nipple,
is
just
not
do a lot.
this is not that difficult. Listen, this isn't using any strong muscles except perhaps your forearm. You'll be fine. If you get
Do a lot
tired, you can use your neck muscles for that. Just make it stationary and
That's true.
Oh, and
there's
just
ways
Oh,
to
I
work
like
around
that you're
that.
right.
point.
As a I was going to say lesbian. As a bisexual woman, that's true. That's totally true.
Was that a bit of a Freudian slip there? As a
I was like, I don't know what happened there, but yes. I want to be a lesbian so bad, to be honest with you. I so bad. But then I read books and then I see men on the street and then I talk to men on these apps and I'm like, oh, I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah.
I
I
get
feel
that,
you.
same.
I feel you there.
Unfortunately.
So he asks her how she wants it, and she says, hard. And then he says, thank the mother. And then he takes his fucking pants off.
It's happening. We're getting B and P action.
He says, I'll hurt you. And she goes, I don't care. And that's what I mean by self-harm. She doesn't care that it's going to fucking hurt, right? She's like, yeah. It's gonna hurt. I legit don't care. And then he says, I do. Her fingers dug in again, her very blood and bones crying out for more of him, but he refused to move. Nesta, look at me. Fighting the roaring of her body, she obeyed. Heat blazed in his eyes and something more than that. Look at me, Cassian breathed. God spare her, but she did. She couldn't take her gaze off of him. Found herself free falling into his darkened eyes, his beautiful face. His hips flexed, and then he slid in another inch, then retreated nearly to her edge. Like, the way this man...
Speechless.
I don't know what to say.
I can't stop smiling.
I was reading it, and I looked down, and just the face, you guys just... It was the cutest.
I don't know. It's going through it.
What's your...
So hot. We're bringing it out. Natalia needs it.
It's so good because the whole time, it's not just fucking, and it's not like he wants it, but at no point is he thinking about his pleasure above hers. And what makes that so important for me is that nobody has ever given a shit about what Nesta wants, because Nesta always took it, and it was always like a fight. It was always like, oh, I'm going to take it because if I don't take what I want, then nobody's going to give it to me. And this is the first time she's been like, this is what I want. And he's been like, I'm going to give you what you want. And she's like, oh, like I don't have to fight you for it? Like, what?
I don't even have to ask you. He just knows.
He just knows.
And
it's
the
almost
eye
like
contact for me.
Oh, yes.
The look at me.
Beautiful.
What? So
No,
basically, they're just like, it was just sex, right? Bye.
Yeah.
And Cassian's like, I have to walk away. And they both didn't want to walk away. He didn't want to leave, and she didn't want him to leave, but neither of them said anything because they're all stupid and don't talk about shit. And Nesta got all sad because she's like, I know it was supposed to be just sex, but I thought at least there'd be some cuddling afterward. When he lifted his head, he threw her a wicked smile. Just sex, right? It was a trap. She couldn't discern in what way, but the words were dangerous. She'd meant them, though, or had wanted to at least. And she said, right.
I would have been like, you know what? I've been reassessing my life lately, and I don't think what I said 5 minutes ago or 10 or 20 still stands. So honestly, let's just have a chat if you want, because we can have more.
In some
Let's
ways,
be
though,
real.
that is him asking, like, do I stay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
right, because she is saying just sex by saying
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think that
For
aftercare
ego.
should be counted as part of sex, though.
100%.
It is a part of sex.
Yeah.
But they skipped that part. Okay, ladies, I have a question for you both.
Tell me.
What is your favorite person, or who is your favorite person in the Valkyrie friend group, and why?
Why?
Wow.
First of all, that I think this book is one of my favorites because it made everything so good, because Sarah J. Maas added the three friends. And that friendship, like Natalia said before, she said something like, this book gives you like a DIY on how to be a friend, like step by step. Because Nesta didn't know how to be friendly or how to be there for someone. And she learned with these beautiful ladies and these three, like, oh my God, I just think that we don't see that a lot in books. With a person like Nesta, very problematic, very difficult. And then we get to see her be that person for other people. And I'm like, so beautiful. So from all of them, Emery. I love her.
I think I love Gwen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love her too, but my favorite is Emery, no doubt.
Okay, so why Emery?
She is so freaking strong. Like we seen, like with these three ladies, you see they all are strong, but they're different way of strong. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
her, I think her life has been so freaking difficult. And just because she's an Illyrian, you know she's gonna have it really bad. You just know. And the fact that even though she went through all of that, she
Mhm.
is such a beautiful person. She
Yeah.
never became Nesta. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
She never became Elaine either. She's just trying her best. And that takes a lot of work, because we've been there in a way or another. And oh my God, I love her so much for that. Yes.
Gwen. I think Gwen is, for example, Emery is living in the outside world, you know. Gwen has overcome this deep trauma that involves men, and she's the only person to leave the library. That has to be, you know, one, it sets the tone for others to be able to do that should they find themselves ready and safe to do so. But
Mhm.
you know, she's kind of the first one who like accepts Nesta in her moody self in that library. And she's like, I love you for who you are, which for me, like, just speaks volumes to the importance of community that like truly loves you and doesn't judge you and accepts you wholeheartedly. And
Mhm.
you know, as one of the main ways to get yourself out of a really hard spot or just really to live a happy life is to have this type of community. And I think she's one of the first to do that for Nesta. And also to be fighting in a rink with men, having had the trauma that she has. I just understand. I really get it. I think
I love it.
Reshea, you've talked about this before in this podcast, but many women, you know, we have been through a very uncomfortable situation with a male or any sexual partner, doesn't matter the gender, and to see her be able to flourish despite that is
I know.
cherry on
It's
top.
like a if she can, you can too, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't see that a lot, because the way that we see survivors of this type of things or this type of events or this type of trauma, it's like they're victims, right? They cannot be better. They cannot get through life because of that, what that happens to them. And these three ladies are like, bitch, please look at us.
Watch us.
Look at us doing our thing. And we don't see that a lot. And the way that Sajay Mas just did it, and you just said something that I love. They each accepted themselves so they could accept the other one. Because being friends, like being Nesta's friend, is not easy. being Wayne's friend is not easy. Being Emery's friend is not easy. And they made it work because they cared so much about each other. Oh, it's just beautiful. That's why.
The three of them.
That's why.
One of my favorite parts of this whole book, if not my
Yeah.
favorite part of this whole book.
Definitely. Cassian, you're a close first. I promise.
Yeah, 100% close friends. What
Yeah.
about you,
All right.
girly? Reshea?
If I'm not being sarcastic about it, I would say Emery. Well, I don't count Nesta because she's the main character. I'm saying, like, of the two friends, I would say Emery. But as my kind of tongue-in-cheek answer, that's also a little bit true. The house.
Yes.
Oh, the house.
Yes. And the house is a Burby and a kinky one. So yes.
And gives
That's
great
funny
book
because you're
recommendations.
Always looking at Nesta and Cassian. I'm sorry, but what?
I relate.
I was gonna say, oh, is it Nati? She's the house. Love to
You're
watch.
like, looking.
100%.
Yeah.
Just like,
She's a voyeur baby. Yes, I love it. Yes.
I love
so
that for
they,
you, by the way.
So this group starts training as Illyrian, right? Because that's part of Nesta's like rehabilitation process, let's put it that way. So they start training you because of the episode before. We told you that Nesta put a sign and people were like not signing up for the training, but she made it work and she stayed consistent and they did do it, and now they're all training, right? And it's beautiful. And we, in each chapter on this part of the book, we get to see how all of them work through their trauma through physical work, through physical, like, not work, but like workouts and like training. And it's so freaking beautiful. I do have to say, after I finished this book, I worked out 2 weeks straight. It was amazing. Only 2 weeks, but it was amazing.
Yeah, and then they also incorporated other parts. So like the Valkyrie training that they were learning
Yeah.
about, that happened to be the thing that what's her name? Meryl, I think, was the lady that Gwen was working for, that was researching the Valkyries and everything, right? So they're like getting all this insight onto how the Valkyries trained and how they got so good. And one of them was this mind stilling, which is cough meditation. Cough.
Meditation.
Yeah. And
Meditation
I
and breath
freaking
work.
love that.
And breath work.
Because
Yes.
they're both like intertwined.
It's like Tai Chi, right? So Tai Chi, where it's like doing breath work and how it like puts you in a meditative state and like moving your breath through your body. And
It's meditation, like a very centered state of meditation, and then you add conscious breathing or breath work. And I tried it, you tried it, and I know to me it was like, oh my god, I'm in the present moment, who am I? So yeah, it was amazing. What about you? You tried it, how was it?
Every time she did it in the book, I would do it myself too. I'm like, oh, shoot, okay, let me center. Let me
And they had this thing that they said, like, I am the rock, that the wave.
I'm the rock on which the surf crashes. Nothing can break me.
Oh my god. Tell me if that's not an amazing affirmation.
The way I fucking cried.
Poetic wisdom.
Dude, me too.
The scene, like, you know how you were saying earlier, like, that was it for me when Nesta's coming out of the Bagurid. I know that it's going to be in the next episode, the ending episode, but the part where Nesta is saying that over and over and over again as she's holding that line during the blood rite.
Oh my god.
The tears I cried.
It was beautiful. It is beautiful. Like, this book is the type of book that you go and reread so many times.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes.
All right. Is this too much smut? Is this book too smutty?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Moving on.
Well, that was one of the points, because one of the things that I see a lot about this specific book from the whole series is that people are always saying it was too much sex, it was too much smut, it was too much of Cassian and Nesta fucking. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but we wanted this on the books before, and she didn't give it to us. So please say thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
We got it.
Thank you.
Moving on.
All right. So then, as another point of coping, Cassian takes Nesta to a blacksmith because she wants to do sword
Mhm.
work, and he thinks that it's important for her to understand the work and artistry and care that goes into creating a blade. But if we remember, Nesta has a thing about fire.
Let's talk about how her being there helped her so much with this trauma. Because, oh my God,
I feel like it was so important. Nathy, you've read it more recently than us. What do you think about this scene?
I was actually just having this conversation about exposure therapy and whether that is a good way to get over a fear. And I
Holy
have to
shit.
say that I disagree with that because it's not just exposure therapy, but it's like a safe exposure and like somebody, it's almost like you taking control again of something that it gives you fear. And
Preach.
in this way, she's like, I am a maker. I am, I am the power here. And
She is controlling the fire.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful because that control is what you feel that you don't have.
Yes.
Right? And when you feel like you gained it again, like when you feel like you have it again, that sensation is so freaking powerful.
Yeah, and then everything that she did, like pounding the hot metal, right? And creating
Mhm.
these swords. It reminded me of how they spoke about Cal and Mai, how the sexual act that the High Lord of the Spring Court does, and how that imbues magic into the earth and it gives the earth back. I think what Nesta was doing when she was making these weapons was she was like letting go of so much anger and trauma and fear and feelings of self-doubt and all of this stuff and all this shit that she'd been holding on for so long, and she was working it into the metal, and it became this magical made item that's super rare and really fucking powerful. And I think that speaks a lot in an allegorical way to how things can be for us when we channel our own trauma and our anger and stuff into more positive outlets, because she created something.
She is creating something from that anger and that pain because okay, she's angry, but she's so much in pain. And if you think about it, everything is energy, right? If we go to that principle, believe, whatever, you know that everything is energy. So if you're so angry and you take your phone, it's gonna feel weird for a few days. So yeah, when you grab your phone, when you feel in, you're super angry, you're super happy, that energy stays there. At least for me, when I wear something and I go out and I feel so happy, I wear that shirt like 3 days in a row because I know it's gonna have that energy. And I feel the same with this chapter specifically. She was creating that, she was putting every thought, every energy, every tear in that dagger and swords. And wow, how powerful, right?
I love
I
that.
also just want to quickly give a shout out to Cassian because I think that as her teacher, and I love this, we have to think about the entire chain that leads to something, right? Like when you eat something, you think about where that food came, the labor of somebody picking it,
Yeah.
the labor of somebody selling it. And I think that's part of what he wanted as well, right? For her to understand the hard work that goes into sword making because it's all an art and you have appreciation for the entire process and everybody who like works along that ladder to make something happen. And that's just,
and I think he understands that if you know how it is, how it becomes it, you can connect more with it because you understand that this is not just an object. This is something that someone created with their own arms and fire and force and everything. So I love that you said that because it's true. Totally true.
Side note question: do you think Cassian, on a scale of 1 to 10, how horny was he watching Nesta make these?
I don't think he was horny. I think he was afraid because I'm pretty sure Nesta was so
she was
into
like,
it.
Are you telling me that he's not a little bit into fear play?
No, you don't get it. No. Of course he is.
But he does have like a
He was
warrior
like,
in him.
she's scaring the shit out of me. Look at her. She's like a totally not even the same person. There's silver flames in her eyes. Kind of want to fuck.
Exactly, because I think she he definitely was, but I think she was so centered and focused on that more than horny, I think he was just admiring her.
Yeah.
He was just like, look at my woman, even though it wasn't
pride.
his woman yet. He was like, oh my god, look at her going.
100%.
Just like
And
full of awe.
Exactly. And you know when you are like crushing on someone, or you like really like someone, and you get to that point where you're like, you just look at them, you're like, oh my God. I think he just, something clicked in his mind in that moment.
Yeah.
Admiration can be horniness, or it can lead to. So
yes.
you're both right.
Exactly. So what is it that she makes? She makes 2 swords and 1 dagger?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
believe so, yeah. And so the blacksmith shows up at Reese's door and is like, get these the fuck out of my place. They're magic. That's bad. He's like, they're cursed. They've got to be cursed. And your thought process is, well, yeah, Nesta put a lot of negative emotions into those. She poured. And you know what Reese had said previously? She is death, pure death. And she poured all that shit into those weapons. Those weapons will never not strike true. Like, whoever you aim it at, it's done for them. Like,
they're gonna die.
Yeah. And what does Reese do?
Oh my God. When I tell you he went from daddy to father. I'm not lying. He takes the beautiful decision to not tell her anything. He's just, you know,
he
what?
put up to a fucking vote.
And that part. Let's just talk about that part. I'm sorry, but why is the inner circle commenting and giving opinions about something that has nothing to do with them?
Nothing. Oh, you think that you have a right to say whether Nesta gets to have the thing she made?
And I know you're gonna think that I'm pity sinner, but I don't care. They didn't give her gifts for solstice, so they have no opinions. No opinions on this matter. I don't care.
I don't see how their opinion mattered. Like, yes, I know that they're dangerous items. She's a dangerous person. You can't take her powers away from her either. She's also a fucking adult. And if the whole point of, they're acting like they sent her up there just to get her out of their hair. They said that it was to help rehabilitate her. So do you or do you not think that she's being rehabilitated? Because if that's not the case, then yeah, I could get why you wouldn't want her to have these weapons. But if you really meant what you said when you wanted her to be rehabilitated, why aren't you giving her a fucking chance?
And the choice to say, Nesta, this is happening. I want to know your thoughts. You don't have to give them to her at all. That's not, no. I just want to know your thoughts on this.
And Cassian and Azrael are like, yes, tell her about the weapons. She can have the weapons.
Because they understand.
And then Amryn and Reese were just like, no. Because they're the ones who hate Nesta the most right now. Yeah. And it's fucking pissing me off. So they're deciding like, oh, Feyre gets to be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Amryn makes a huge comment about Rhysand becoming High King with these weapons.
Oh yeah,
remember that? And when I read that, I grasped to that idea of Rhysand becoming the villain at some point so hard, so fucking hard.
You want it to happen so bad.
Oh, the way I'm manifesting this for me.
She said that he could use those weapons to become High King because they were so powerful. Which also,
because there's a story behind this. There's a story behind this of people doing it before and all of that going down and stuff. But
with the dread trove,
yeah. But oh my God, imagine! And I'm telling you something right now. Sarah J. Maas doesn't give you stuff because she just wants to give you stuff on a book. That's something that's gonna come again. I know it. Yes, she is.
Leaving her crumbs. So then they're just like, oh no, that's probably a bad idea. Couldn't happen. And then that's it, right? And they're done. So they leave that conversation alone and we're just left going, I'm sorry, what was that about a High King? And then we move on, I guess.
Yeah, because they don't say anything else about that. But I know that's going to come back. And the way that Rhysand is like, so too. No, but everyone is like into it. And I'm like, you guys are insane. But I love the idea of him doing that because it's going to become the villain and I'm ready for it. Go ahead.
So then the next day, Cassian is training with Nesta and he's like, hey, so you know, like swords usually have names? And just spit on here. If you had a sword, what would you name it? And she's like, why?
So dumb.
He was a total himbo at that moment.
No reason, just asking. And she's like pushing him, just like, Cassian, what the fuck is going on? He's like, so like, maybe you made that sword and maybe it's super magical and maybe we don't know whether you should have it. And she's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we took a vote. And she's like, I'm sorry, you took a what? And then he goes, well, but I voted for you. And she...
Every time that he was
just delivered
saying something, oh my God, he's like, Cassian, please, babes, just shh.
Yeah. And then she's like, okay, who voted against me? And he's like, it was Rhys. He's straight up under the bus. Rhys and Amryn. It was Amryn and Rhys, 100%. Go fuck them up. Right? And Nesta, who has been like trying to like power herself down and up these 10,000 steps for the whole book so far, is just that pissed. Have you guys ever been this pissed? I've been this pissed, where something you couldn't physically do before, you're like, oh, easy peasy lemon squeezy, bitch. And she just walked down those 10,000 steps and straight past the bar and goes right to Amryn's house to fuck her up. Okay.
Remember that throughout this book, these 10,000 steps are like a theme.
Yeah.
They become something that she needs to do. And the only way that she did it was being so freaking angry that she didn't even think about the 10,000 steps. She just freaking did it. And she, not only that, she went from the House of Wind that is on a fucking mountain to the city, to Amryn's apartment. What?
Yeah.
She was so angry. And you know what's incredible? You know when you're so angry that you go for a walk and then after like 10, 15, an hour, you feel okay? She walked for so long and she was still feeling
still pissed.
Mad.
Because she had a goal. She's like, I know exactly what I'm going to say to this bitch. And I'm going to ruin her little fuck session. And she bursts in the door. And Cassian's just... she absolutely was. And Cassian's running behind her like, oh, shit. So he's like calling everybody as if there was a real true threat to the whole city. They were at attention, right? And then Feyre's like, no, Rhys, I should go handle this. And good on Feyre for telling Rhys to suck a dick when he's like, no, you're my pregnant wife. You can't be near your sister. And she's like,
can't do anything.
Yeah, she's just like, Rhys, I'm gonna deal with it. And then she just goes, and I'm
You
proud of
remember
her.
when I saved everyone under the mountain? Because I did that as a human, you know?
A fucking human.
Please shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So Feyre's here to try to diffuse the situation. Nesta's losing her shit on Amryn, which is fair, right?
Yeah.
And that, I believe, is when we find out what Amryn said to Nesta on the barge. So basically, Nesta calls Amryn out for giving up on her and calling her a waste of space. And then she turns on Feyre. And it wasn't right to have said this in a moment of anger, but hard relate. She straight up tells Feyre everything about her pregnancy.
And I'm just going to say, I'm not proud of that decision at the moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when was this poor fucking woman going to know that she was about to die?
Probably when she died.
Like, and then that happens, and Rhysand finds out because, of course, and he goes bollocks. He goes insane. And this is the part when, for me, I couldn't see him again the same way at all. He goes, like, get her out of my face, I will kill her. What?
Before I fucking kill her? Like,
Natty, have you ever been in a narcissistic, like in a relationship with a narcissist before?
no, I don't think so.
So there's this thing that narcissists do. Or like, have you ever had like a family member or a friend that was a narcissist? Have you met one? Okay.
Yeah.
They do this thing where they will weave different lies for different people and then just hope to God that they never like cross paths because, right? This is Rhysand freaking out because he told one lie to his wife about, or to other people about his wife, told other people different lies, and now they're all in the same fucking room. And the stories are converging and his lies are falling apart and he's mad because he needs to make it somebody else's fault. Just like a fucking narcissist. Because he can't take responsibility for the fact that if he'd just been a fucking normal person and told the fucking truth to his wife, that we wouldn't be here right now.
Dude,
Continue.
listen to this that I wrote very badly.
Mhm.
Oh, this was in Spanish and in English. Okay, but definitely this is unacceptable. This behavior tumbling siento, meaning he's being a tumbling. In Reese, disgusting and unacceptable. Like, get a grip. You are the one who chose to hide this from Farah. I was so mad reading this. I sent a voice memo to my friend that she read it like a few years back. And she was like, babes, I get it, but I don't remember anything. I read this book so long. I'm like, I just needed to talk about this with someone. Don't understand the people that still, to this day, when you go to Reddit and you put something about this, they still defended him. That they are still saying he had his reasons or whatever. I'm like, I get the political part of it. I don't get why you need to lie to your mate.
That you've always preached is an equal. Like,
Thank
that's
you.
just out of character. You've always been like, you always have a choice with me. You'll always have agency. And then he takes it away the moment that it scares him.
And that's what I say. The Sajay Mas wanted these two main characters that we loved for so long on the other books to go down so the other ones could go up. And I don't understand why you have to do that. They all could have shined in the same light.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
I stand by the theory that possibly she had a ghostwriter write this one for her because it seems very out of character. So yeah, Reese tells Cass to get her the fuck out of his court, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a divide in the fandom here. Was Cassian in the right or in the wrong to take Nesta away?
I'm gonna go first. To me, I loved it because he understands that she needs space. I don't think many like partners that you can have are going to understand the fact that sometimes the only thing that you need is a space, and that space, it's not gonna be in your house. It has to be out, like away from everything and everyone that you know. So I get that. The only part that I'm not sure about is that he did it. If he did it because he wanted to give her that space, or because Rizan, his High Lord, said something.
I mean, I think that he knew, because he says it like that she was going to go straight to the taverns. He knew that her coping mechanism in this moment was not going to be a safe one. And I think that's okay to run interference when you know somebody's about to do something, and you can try to protect in a way that isn't overpowering and allows them to still continue, like, you know, to process their emotions. So I'm okay with him doing that.
But at the same time, she has friends now, though. How are you so sure that she's going to go to her like previous behaviors when she now has a friend? Like, she knows how to communicate things to these ladies, right? That she found community, and she didn't have that before. She has this base, this foundation that she didn't before. And I think that he's being a little bit resigned in the sense of, or tumbling, I'm not gonna give you the choice, I'm just gonna take you away. That's the part that I'm not super sure about. What about you, Reshea?
When I'm feeling very out of control with my emotions, like breakdown, losing it kind of sense, I'm not an athletic person. I don't like to go for runs. I don't like to go for walks. But
Not ready for that.
But I
That's
said,
a good point.
me.
That's actually a good point.
I said, bear with me here. But even though I'm not that kind of a person that can just get up and run every morning or whatever, I mean, this happened to me like 2 days ago. I was like not okay. I was about ready to like lose it Nesta style, just on people around me for no reason if they didn't deserve it. And instead I threw my shoes on and I just went. And the thing was, like, at some point you get so exhausted and your body is so tired that you just aren't angry anymore. And you're just like, you're just ready to just, you kind of burn through it in a physical way. And sometimes it's what you need, because talking through it isn't enough, and it's not going to be healthy because you're going to end up saying something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yep. I second that so hard.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying like go hard and like run a half marathon. I have a 1 mile route that I know in my neighborhood, and 1 mile was it. And I was, because I also have asthma. So I was like, by the end of it, like my body was hurting, my lungs were burning, and I was like sweating, and I just like got in a cold shower to like rinse myself off. And by the time I was done, I was like I felt like I could finally breathe. And I feel like that, to your point, Sussy, you were worried, like, did he do it for her, or did he make that decision for her, or did Is he doing it because his High Lord told him to? And I think the one thing that makes a difference for me is that Cassian has a special understanding of Nesta, and he knew that she was on a different level at this point, where she felt absolutely betrayed, and it was the last straw. And I don't want to give away anything, but like I think he knew, because he has like special insight as to what.
Wink. If you're only listening to this, she's winking hard right now.
So much winking. Like he knew that she needed something else, and she didn't have to ask in that moment. And yeah, it was what Rhys wanted, but also at the same time, he didn't care if Rhys felt like he won. All he cared about was making sure that Nesta had her space. And then he took her on this like days-long hike, and he didn't force her to say a word. She didn't speak for days. It wasn't until she was passing out and losing her vision and going like ready to like straight up die because she didn't eat or drink for days that he was just like, when was the last time you had some water, bitch? And she was like, oh, it's been a minute. And like, then they were able to talk, but he gave her that space.
I want to talk about that part so hard, because the fact that they didn't speak for days, the fact that she had so much time to be in her head and be like, that's why I'm telling you, I love the fact that she was such a bitch and a bad person, quote unquote, before, because she needed to be that person to be this person out on this hike and become the person that she's after the hike. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot have that if you didn't have that version of her before. It's so freaking powerful. And that's the fact that I don't understand. People are criticizing Nesta. They are not seeing that she needed to go through that to become the person that she is at the end of the book.
Absolutely. So the consensus is that we are Team Cassian.
No
Continue
doubt.
to be, for sure.
No doubt.
And Team Nesta.
Yes.
And not
Right.
Team Rhys.
We should
Like
go.
hikes, yeah.
We should go. Definitely Team Nesta, Team Cassian.
Yeah.
And Nesta finally breaks. And it's such, to me, it was such, if I had to choose a close second favorite from this book, it's gonna be this part when she breaks, because she's so powerful. Like someone, when you know someone that is so strong and they're so stubborn and they never show emotions, and then you see them one day crying, and you're like, oh my god, you're a person, you're a real person, you're fragile.
It's the
me.
person who's always okay, and then you finally see them not okay, and you're like, oh shit.
And that was, to me, that was so powerful.
I just love his physical presence that is comforting, like when she falls into his chest and he's just there holding her. But he doesn't need to give too many words of encouragement. And I think that's a beautiful lesson I've learned over years. Sometimes people just want to be listened to and held, and that's what he gives her, and that's what she needs. And you know what? She actually becomes a different person.
Yeah.
This reminds me of something I've spoken to before with a bunch of dudes that I know, and it's that men have a problem with understanding that sometimes we as women, as their partners, don't come to them complaining about something that's going on, needing them to fix the problem for us. Sometimes we just need them to be quiet and listen and go, man, that really sucks. Like if I'm coming to you complaining about Sharon at work being a total twat waffle, I don't need you to tell me how to fix things with her, how to get her fired from her job, how to win the fight or whatever. I just need you to be like, you know what? You're right. Sharon is a cunt, and that's it. And if they love us, a lot of times you sit there, you go, I'm really struggling because I'm feeling like, no self-worth, or I'm feeling like I'm not doing the right things or whatever. And they hear that and they're like, well, I have to fix the problem because I love you and I want to make it better. Cassian understands that sometimes a negative emotion is just something you have to feel, and it's not his job to fix the problem for Nesta. And if he tries to fix the problem for her, it won't mean as much when the problem is fixed. Like, it's something she has to do, but he can be there for her while she goes through it. And that is how we know Cassian is a man written by a woman.
And my favorite quote to say, and that's in period. Something is happening, right? And at some point it says, some essential piece of her clicked into place. And I put here, clicking or made, the mating bond clicking.
Oh,
Maybe though, because this was a bonding moment. Like
it really
this moment,
was.
if you don't love this man in this moment, you will never gonna love him again. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the bond saying, you found your mate.
Snapping into place.
Exactly.
Nesta breaks. Everything's better. They hightail it
Ish.
back after a few days. They hightail it back to the, House of Wind. And then other things are still going on. There's still a lot of unrest between the Fey realms and everything. So they're still working with Eris to try to figure out all of this shit that's going on, right? So they're meeting in the Spring Court, which has kind of become the no man's land since nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to go to where Under the Mountain happened ever again. So they're just like, well, Tamlin's not using it. Let's just go there. And Reese
if you didn't hear our crack theory about Tamlin, please go and listen to episode 8 because it's fantastic and it's gonna help you so much. We're hoping that it's something like this when we get the next books and we see what happens to him. It's something like this, but go and listen because it's amazing. But go ahead.
So great. He winnows them there. And we find out that Cassian has seasonal allergies, and that has nothing to do with the book, but it's fucking hilarious, and I love it.
I love it because his nose is red, and he's like sniffing and stuff. And Nesta is like, "Really, you're perfect. Like, what's
to get it together, right?" So that has nothing to do with the book. We just wanted to talk about it for a second.
Yeah.
After that, Reese is on his. Oh, we got to find a cure for Feyre, and yeah, Feyre, I guess you can be a part of it now because so he calls.
Not because I told you, but. Now.
So he calls Helion in because Helion has the gift of breaking spells, right? And that's where Feyre got that from. Helion gives me so many happy feelings because he reminds me of you, Sussy. If you remember.
Best compliment ever.
So Helion is like, it's a small little, like, it's just me. I'm not going with my whole court. I'm not bringing my inner circle, whatever. He still shows up on a Pegasus in a chariot of gold, right? And this reminds me, if I may, a story of Sussy. When I said to her, I have this dress that I brought to New York, but I feel like maybe I'm overdressing for a lesbian bar.
Please.
And Sussy says that, I believe, specifically, bitch, there's no such thing as overdressing. It's New York, okay? It's New York. There is no such thing as overdressing, okay? You wear it. And I got dressed and she's like, you look fucking amazing. Wear it. Oh, wear the heels too. Be 6 feet tall. It's amazing. When I tell you the nicest dressed person at that lesbian bar was wearing basketball shorts, I'm not lying to you. And
but you know what? You were eating.
I was not. I immediately left. But
Like the end of that.
I'm sorry, but everything is attitude. You were giving. You were giving everything.
I was like, oh my god, this is exactly how Hellion just arrives everywhere. Oh no, there's no such thing as overdressing. Yes, I will absolutely show up on a Pegasus in a chariot. Yes, absolutely, always and forever. And anybody else would be like, yes. Did I overdress? I had no less than 3 lesbians ask me what I was doing in that bar. Like, I had no place.
You know me. I'm always perfectly dressed, never overdressed. You are underdressed. I'm always perfectly dressed.
And that
is fact.
And that is Helion vibes if I've ever heard them in my entire fucking life.
Honestly, that picture of him arriving, it's forever in my freaking brain because that man is a god.
Well, and he did it specifically to turn people on. Like, he wants to make an entrance because he's like,
I think he makes a comment to Cassian and Archeron when he arrives. Something like,
maybe, yeah.
What? No, maybe it was the other book, whatever. But he's always like, I don't know when this is going to happen. Like 3 of them. I don't know when this is going to happen.
But it's going to happen. Yeah.
Helion is very bisexual. And he's Lucian's daddy. So win, 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 win. We love it. Yes. Oh my God. Sinners, we finally got to the end of this episode. I'm actually...
Was it only 3 hours?
I'm actually afraid of editing this episode right now because I'm like, oh my God, we went off. But I loved it. And you were amazing, baby. Oh my God. But before we leave, Nati, give me 2 to 3 books that you are looking forward to read?
Okay, so I think I'm gonna take a little of a breather from smut, and I already started it, but I'm gonna finish House on the Cerulean Sea.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Recommended to me, and the words used were, "It feels like a hug."
Oh,
Aw.
oh, I love those. But is that YA or just romance, or what is it?
It's not romance. It's a little like fantasy in the sense of it's kids in a home and they have powers. And I'll leave it at that.
My
love it.
my daughter is reading that one.
Oh, so maybe it is YA. I love that. But what is the other one?
The other one is it's actually a series that was recommended by one of your guests, and I'm forgetting right now.
Is it Chelsea?
the Six of Crows series?
Heck freaking
Mm,
yes, baby.
nice.
I love those.
I also have to finish the last two from the Mafia smut. I couldn't. I had
Yes.
to
Queens
get
and
back in.
Monsters.
Queens and
Yes.
Monsters. She got into it. We were reading together. It was
reading
amazing.
together.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Awesome. So Nati, we are so thankful for you to be here today. Well, thank you so much. We cannot wait to have you back. You know, you're always welcome.
I'm so happy to be here.
Right there.
and, thank you for having me, and love you, sinners.
Because you can't get enough of us, be sure to follow us all over our social medias. You can follow Come With Us at Come With Us Pod on Instagram and TikTok. If you'd like to follow Sussy on Instagram, you can find her at I'm Sussy Nunez. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Reshea_reads. If you want to follow us on TikTok, you can find Sussy at I'm Sussy Nunez 1111 and myself at Charlotte Rivers 4. You know you want to. See you there.
Sinners, you've been good little angels. Thank you for listening, and remember, stay wicked, stay wild, and keep reading. We love you. Bye.